Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafty Concepts with Erin. If you're new here, I'm so glad you've stopped by. I'm working on my December daily album today, and I will be using the Creative Design Team Days of December sketchbook. If you caught my first video last week, I showed you a little bit closer what's in this book. Now this is a digital download. I did have mine bound, and I'm so happy I did because it just looks beautiful. And I have a couple sketches. It's one story, but we're going to make this a double page spread. So I've selected a few of the sketches. Today we're going to be working on this one as well as this one here. Now this sketchbook provides the cutting measurements for each layout, so that is very handy and takes the guesswork out of it. We're documenting our trip to the Christmas tree farm, hunting down the perfect Christmas tree, and there's quite a bit of a story to tell, so I'll leave a lot of room for journaling on this one. But I really wanted to use this Christmas story scrapbooking stamp because this tree here is beautiful, and it very much looks like the tree we ended up selecting. So this has some fun. There's a tree stand, and you can make a big title. It stamps out Christmas or a merry little Christmas. And then this is like popcorn garland, which is so cute. And then of course this beautiful star. So I've already cut my base pages. I have 2 sheets of white daisy cut to 6x8 that I'm going to build my layout on. The little circle elements here is going to be for my date. I am using the Magical Day Holiday, which is a stamp set from my stash. This is no longer available, but it has all the decorative days of December up to the 25th. So I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do beyond that. We'll have to do something creative. But using a consistent element like this, I already went ahead and punched all my circles for the whole month. And I'm working on last year's memory because I never got to do that. So you could put this album together and work on this year's and be that much farther ahead. Since I'm following the sketch, I know exactly what size to cut all of my papers. So this is from the Christmas Story Workshop collection. The workshop has additional pattern papers and die cut pieces. So I like to get the workshop because it has so many of the fun elements to work with. So I did cut a piece of pine glitter paper, and we're going to we have the country plaid, and we're going to glam it up with the glitter paper. So that's going to sit just like that. So we're like the plaid family in this picture. It's kind of funny. My other son's he's taking the picture in this photo, but we found the perfect tree and we are cutting the tree down to take home. And I'm going to put these two for this 3x4, 3x3, and another 3x4. This side, I'm going to use this beautiful pattern paper. Again, this is all from the Christmas Story Scrapbooking Workshop collection. And then I'll finish off the transition here with more of the pine glitter paper. And then this picture is going to sit just like this. I printed them with a white border. It doesn't stand out, so I think I'm going to add some inking to the edges of these photos here so they have just a little bit more definition. I'm going to use my black ink to ink up the edges, and we'll do the pattern paper as well. Anytime I have a pattern paper like this one with kind of white fading into white, I definitely think the inking makes a big improvement. And then this is just going to give a little shadowing to the photos and help them stand out against the white background. So there is a funny story behind this adventure. I have always wanted to go to a Christmas tree farm. I wanted to go as a family. I just envisioned hunting down the perfect tree, and then we'd go get hot chocolate and, the whole Christmas tradition, and be this magical time. Well, year after year, it just never happened, and we had an artificial tree, but this was the year. It was finally happening, and I had everybody together, and it just worked out. We go to the Christmas tree farm, which isn't far from our house. It's kind of hot, and, the kids were being really funny because they're like, Mom, if we had been little, this would have been really cool, and we would have really liked this, but that ship has sailed, and they were being really silly, kind of acting how little kids would act in this whole magical forest of Christmas tree land. So their silliness in itself made it a really fun memory. We did end up finding a tree that we all agreed on, and the boys were the ones to cut the tree down. So they were kind of skipping with fake enthusiasm as good sarcastic teenagers do. But we were all laughing because it was so silly. Back to the layout, there's a folded up corner. So I cut a piece of this plaid paper that I have all the way over on the left, and this is really going to tie the two layouts together with this little pop of plaid peeking out from under this folded corner. I am kind of arriving at this look a little bit different than the sketch has you do it, but the end result's going to be the same. So it will just fold up like that, and you'll see that plaid paper peeking out. So let's go ahead and stamp our Christmas tree. I have my little mini Misty here and a piece of white daisy cardstock, and then we'll just mount the tree here. There is a coordinating die, but we'll mount the tree to the Misty door, and then we can ink that up and stamp it onto the cardstock. We get the tree cut down and we haul it over to the barn where you pay, and it's a family-run business, and ironically there's two teenage boys that are doing the measuring of the trees, so you know how much to pay because it's by the foot, and then wrapping them up and helping get them into your vehicle. They measure our tree at 7 feet, and then they pick it up to go and wrap it, and they snap off the top of our tree, like a whole foot of it. And we were just laughing so hard. And my boys are like, bruh, because that's how teenagers talk to each other, right? They're like, bruh, that's a 6-foot tree now, right? So the whole thing was just really funny. I feel like more often than not, that's how life is, right? We have these big visions of grandeur and these ideas, and then there's the real life experience. But often that's the fun part, right? I mean, these two kids breaking off the top of our tree and us just having this really good laugh about it. Those are the memories that last. So I have my big, beautiful Christmas tree stamped in pine ink, and I'm going to cut this with the coordinating die. And this is going to kind of spill over the edge of the page a little bit, and I'm totally okay with that. We'll just trim it to fit. I'll position my tree over on the left, and that way we can fold the corner up on the right, and I think that's going to look nice. Let me go ahead and adhere my photo down, and then we can work with the embellishments. Actually, I think I want to mat that. I have a little piece of a pocket card left over from the last project I did with this Christmas story collection. I have, other layouts that are 12 by 12, like a classic 12 by 12 size that I've done with the Christmas story, as well as the 6 by 8. So I'll leave those all listed in the description box below, and you can check those out. So you can see the sketch has a tag over on the left. So I did cut a tag from one of the bonus pattern papers from the workshop collection, and I'm going to just use this to highlight my embellishments so they don't get lost on the background with all the different pattern papers going on. Let's go ahead and stamp our circle here. Let me get that out. I'm grabbing scarlet ink because I think the red will pop a little bit more. And this is day 1. So we're going to grab the number 1, which is a square, but that's okay. I ended up doing that on my last one, and I think it looks just fine over this circular embellishment. So this stamp's new. I haven't used all these numbers yet, so I want to practice several times. Make sure that is stamping well, and then I can go ahead and stamp on my little white daisy circle here. So give it a second to soak in, and then we'll layer that over the black base circle, just like so. I'm very thankful I took the time to kind of batch prep all of my little date circles. It just speeds up the process when you're creating, so I don't have to get the dies out and then die cut those every time. They're just ready to go, and I made some extra in case I mess up. Now this stamp here, this is Comfort and Joy card making, and if it's still available, I will leave that listed in the description box below, along with everything else I'm using on today's project. But this is so pretty. So it's a Christmas tree shape, and it says, "A very merry, oh so very merry Christmas." And I like that it's, again, a tree shape. So I want this to be embossed in gold. So I'm using my Versamark ink, which is just a sticky ink that will allow the embossing powder to adhere to our stamped image. This is the Ranger Gold Embossing Powder, and I'll just sprinkle that generously, tap off the excess, and it doesn't look like much, but once we heat set that, that's where the magic happens. So I have my heat tool, and I like to heat from the back because you guys can see that on camera, and it also doesn't disturb any of the embossing powder. Isn't that pretty? I'll go ahead and get that cut out with the coordinating die. Let me grab that. I love having dies because it gives such a nice, almost like a beveled edge when you die cut them out, and I think it's a nice finish to look. So there's our little tree. I added a star right here from the coordinating sticker sheet. There is a stamp where you can stamp and emboss the star, but I thought it was easy just to add one of those star stickers. So right here, I feel like we need a little bit more. So I grabbed some chipboard or paperboard embellishments from the Christmas Story embellishment pack. There are these little holly berries, so I thought that would look pretty nestled right in this space here. So there's the 2 leaves and then some berries. Now these little banner pieces I thought would look cute, kind of draping down from this upper corner right here. For my tree, I added foam tape to the back of that. And then for my folded corner, I'm tucking a few of the foam dots under here so it's not flattened out. I actually wanted to have I wanted to retain some of that dimension. And then I think I'm going to stitch the corner down into place. I'm using a 3-ring album or 3-ring binder style photo album. So that gives you more room because I like a lot of dimension on my pages. So using the ring bound album will definitely allow for some more bulk on my pages. Let me just trim off the excess here. I know I say this before, but it is so exciting to be checking this off my bucket list. I've wanted to create a little 6x8 December daily type album for a long time. So I'm so happy it's coming together. Now I want to add a little bit of these chipboard. They're kind of a wood grain look and it's mistletoe. So I thought this would be good to tuck in on each side. And let's go ahead. I went ahead and glued those down, but let's poke a few holes here and stitch this corner down. So I'm just using my paper piercer and I'm going to poke 3 holes. And then I have some red twine that will look good in this area to stitch that together. This is called Waxy Flax. It's no longer available and I am hoarding it because I absolutely love it. This is a product I wish they would bring back. And I'm just going to add a couple little stitches here to make it look like I've sewed that corner down. And then we're going to go back through the center hole. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to poke that through with my paper piercer here. And then the Waxy Flax has like a waxy coating on it, so it was really easy to work with. For the back, I'll just snip this off and then secure it with a little washi tape. And that way there won't be a knot that is just making unnecessary bulk. So we'll just smooth that down with a piece of tape and that'll hold that in place. I wanted to add a little bit more sparkle and shine, so I have my clear shimmer brush and I'm going to dress up this bow and then also the holly berries on the left-hand side. I know it's difficult to appreciate on camera, but it definitely adds a nice shine and makes these look like glitter chipboard pieces. So the clear is my favorite. They come in lots of different colors, but clear you can put on anything. Now, I don't know if I really like that stitching, and I thought since I added the wood of the mistletoe, I could add this button because I don't have a chance to use buttons a whole lot, so I thought why not, and I do like the way that looks better. I have a couple stickers from the sticker sheet. I thought maybe right there, but I've got this space up here that needs a little something. So this says Christmas Countdown, and I thought that that was super cute right there. I want to add a little festive Christmas flair to my tree, so I grabbed my loose sequins here, and there's a couple different sizes. I'm using my wax pencil to pick up those little individual pieces of sequins, and I'm going to just scatter them about the pine boughs here. Off camera, I'll go ahead and get those adhered with my micro glue dots, so you don't have to watch that part, but we're just going to make them look like little red baubles on the tree. I mentioned I had a lot of journaling, so I printed it out on cardstock and adhered it to the back of the photo. This is allowing me to sneak in one more photo, and then I'm going to use a 3x4 flip flap. So there is both this style where you can open that way, or this style that you can open to the top. So what I'm going to do is slide this. You want to open it with the flap on the side facing you, and then the flap folds over the top, closing that in. And then there's an adhesive strip. So it's going to flip up like that. Make sure that whatever's on the inside is oriented correctly. Let's go ahead and adhere this base photo to the layout, and then I'll show you how to adhere the flip flap. So it's going to go right over the top of that. Let me grab my page protector here out of my album. So this is day 1. So I'm going to have a title page. This will actually open up on day or page 2. Let me attach my bow. That just wasn't attached and jumped off the page when I moved it. Let me pull this out because it'll make it a little bit easier. So what you want to do is just slide this into the page protector, and then we could adhere our flip flap. So make sure it's all the way in to the edge. Peel off the adhesive strip there, and then it's folded over, and you're going to line this up right over the photo on the bottom and then press down. So once you have it exactly where you want it, you want to burnish that so you have really good contact. Some people like to cut their page protector. I've always adhered it to the top and it works really well for me. So I'm going to call this spread done. I am loving how beautiful that tree looks, and I think it really helps tell the story. And then we have the fun story hidden underneath in the interactive flip flap. If you missed the Creative Design Team collaboration, go ahead and click on this playlist right here to see all of the other inspiring ways you can use this sketchbook. Everything's listed in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.